Welcome back, and we're kind of moving backwards. So we went from 11.6, now we're coming back to 11.5 because it doesn't really make sense to me the way they have it set up in the book. The whole point of what they're trying to do here is applying some fractions to volume and fractional edge lengths to volume. Pretty simply, if you have, I'm going to skip a page here and I'm going to come back to this. So if you have something like this, number 4, where it's just 4.5 units, 4.5 units, 4.5 units, you're still just multiplying 4.5 times 4.5 times 4.5. Even if it's fractions, you can change it to decimals as long as they're not repeating decimals. So 4.5 times 4.5 times 4.5. But the one thing the books wants you to understand is how a fractional unit would fit inside a full unit. So let's say I have this box that's 1 unit. So right here, this distance, 1 unit. And I want to then fill it with smaller units, smaller little squares that are half a unit each dimension. So half here. So I would have 2 fitting across here. So if you can imagine this kind of going there, I would have 2 of these little blocks going across here. I'd then have 2 of these little blocks going this way, so 1, 2. Then if I filled it in up here, all right, I'd have, and I'm trying to fill this here. So on the whole bottom layer, I'd have 1, 2, 3, and I'd have a 4th one in the back. So if you could picture from here down, it's going to take 4 of these to make a layer. And then up on this upper half of this box, it would take 4 more of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 8 1/2 units blocks to fill my 1 unit big box. All right. So that's the relationship they want you to realize down here. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to do this page. I started to. It just doesn't make sense. It's just going to confuse you. So I'm not going to worry about. What I just want you to take away from this is that sometimes you're going to have to break down a distance that they give you or a unit into smaller little blocks and think about how many it fills. So a good example of that, what I'm going to have you do in class is over here on page 626. So what I'd like you guys to do in class is work through these examples 7, 8, 9, 10. I think just stop at 10 there with these A, B, and C sizes. And that will get to the idea of what I'm after of how can you fill something with smaller. So they're going to, if you had to put these red blocks inside the blue blocks, that's a lot to say. It's 1 by 1 by half, and this is 2 by 1 by 1. So, and you can do this with whichever teacher you're with, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just work through those, and that'll be enough on this fractional piece.